A new, very game-changing cryo reagent has been added to the game. This reagent can actually reverse the effects of rotting. It essentially can prevent permadeath. This is absolutely a game changer for the game. This is the closest we've gotten to being able to revive people since we've lost cloning. Now, the medicine is actually not super hard to make. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to call it Oppo. That's probably what everyone's just going to call it. But the effects of Oppo is regenerates 20 seconds of rotting when the body's temperature is at most 150 Kelvin and the mob is dead. This is really hard to gauge in game, but I'll show you that it's very easy to just practically use in game because you can't see rotting numbers necessarily. Like if you examine a corpse, you can see that the corpse doesn't look very fresh, or the corpse is rotting. Worse than that, there's like the corpse is bloated or the corpse is not very fresh, but both of these are rotting. To make Oppo, you just need plasma, cognizine, and doxorubicin. I can't pronounce these damn reagents. But to make the doxa, really not that bad. It's just cryo, which you can make infinite of, and unstable mutagen, which is very easy to make. So the hardest part of this is obviously the cognizine, because that requires carbotoxin, cytolec, and acetone. But if you work closely with botany, which botanists are probably going to want to do this because staving off permadeath is immensely powerful. So botany has the ability to make this process immensely easier. Salvage can also help with this, obviously. But Cytolec is basically a botany-only powerful anti-caustic medicine derived from plants. So you do need botany here. Botany can really provide all of this. So without botany, or at least getting access to your own hydroponic trace, like maybe even like science or somebody who's growing this stuff can help you out. Either way, it is a team effort. I'm not necessarily going to show how to make it. The recipes are in game. Like I said, this is pretty much all botany. Carpotoxin can be gotten through salvage through carps. But anyways, in order to actually use this medicine, it's really simple. If you examine a corpse and it says it's rotting, well, that means that this is the only medicine you can really use on them to help get them back. If somebody has way too much genetic damage, like 200 plus, they're pretty much just dead. The cryo medicine that actually heals genetic damage doesn't work on completely dead people. So if they have 195 genetic damage, they are pretty much just doomed to die. Otherwise, though, you may have to use a mix of like Necrosol to cure the corpse before you revive them, or you may also have to use Alaxidone, which, depending on what they died from, might be required, or you might have to use topicals. Whatever the case may be, just pay attention to their health values. But to explain how this medicine works, it's really simple. You just drag a body into a cryopod. You have to wait until they get cold enough. To get them cold enough, they need to be at 150 Kelvin, so just pay attention to this. Remember, you can always increase the pressure on your cryopods up to, like, I forget what somebody said the number is. It's like 500. So, like, I have it on 300, but I can just set it higher. Anyways, saving a few extra seconds is not really all super important, but it can help. So somebody who's only taken 12 genetic damage from rotting has not been rotting for too long. If somebody's rotted much more than that, they could actually gib, because rotting does do blunt damage. So if you'd still just hide a body for long enough, this medicine's still not going to save somebody back, because being rotting for too long will just straight up gib a body. Anyways, the way we can figure out the way this works is you can't really examine how long somebody's been rotting for. The genetic damage is a clue, but trying to figure those numbers out is not super practical. You just insert the beaker, and if you right-click the cryopod, you can just keep shift-clicking until their corpse becomes fresh. And it really does not seem like it takes many units of the reagent to actually get them into a fresh state. So in this fresh state, you can actually just get them into the proper health amounts. You can use, you can revive them and then use cryo. You can use topicals, whatever you got to do as a medical doctor to get them back. This person has been rotting even longer, so let me just to double show how this works. They are fully rotted. His corpse is rotting. They're not quite bloated, but being bloated is only a few extra minutes past rotting. And if you're going to have a few units of this stuff, I'm sure you're going to have at least 100 units. And hopefully you're not getting dozens of rotting corpses at a time. But that does happen. But yet again, this medicine is amazing. It can bring perma-dead people back. So now you don't have to give up on your body if you're rotting. There is still hope if cryo is working with botany and potentially working with salvage as well. So they are cold enough, put the medicine in, keep shift clicking them as soon as you see the rotting text go away. Any second now. Any second now. See, now we've gone to doesn't look very fresh. So this is somebody who's been rotting for a very long time with 60 genetic damage. The getting them to doesn't look very fresh is actually good enough to revive them, and then the next step is his corpse looks somewhat fresh. And it'll keep injecting, it'll keep injecting. But at this point, they're totally good. Once they get to the corpse is fresh, you have plenty of time to save this person. Yeah, that used like 40 units, but this person was rotting for a very long time. 60 genetic damage is quite a lot. If they're rotting for longer than that, well, you can kind of do the math. So that took about 30 units to get them from rotting to fresh when they had 60 genetic. So think it might take around 90 units to get them to fresh if they're like very bloated and about to gib from the damn genetic. But again, at that point, there might just be nothing you could do. There are still going to be opportunities and times where you just cannot save someone. But due to this, medical has an immensely powerful tool to basically bring the dead back to life fully. Cryo is top tier now, and I 100% expect Syndicate agents to bomb Cryo to hell, because Cryo is not only some of the best healing in the entire game, it's now the only way to bring back rotting people. So this is immensely useful for all medical personnel. Thank you for watching.